This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kollel. This is Zohar Miketz. Today is the 5th day of the week of this Parsha. It's the day of Hod. Let's go over here. We're on page Reish Samach Beis in the Matik B'Devash. We took a little look at this Zohar. So the Matik brings us a little Hakdama. We try to help us out here to understand exactly what's going on. He said, Pirush HaPosuk HaMuvad L'Olam. He said the Pasuk is going to say Masa HaNevuah, the actual act that's involved in prophecy. This actually is coming from Yeshayah, Anavi, from Yeshayah. So he's up Al Yerushalayim Shenikras Gei HaChazoyon, on Yerushalayim, which is called the Valley of Prophecy. The Fi Shesham Hu Makom HaNevuah, because this is the place where prophecy comes from. From Yeshayah the Yisrael, so the Yeshayah says to the Jewish people, Malcha Eifel, what are you doing here? Kalisa Kulacha Kulach Lagagos. So you translate this. This is actually the pasuk. We're going to see it again. It's a difficult pasuk. So there's a B'mana Asa. This is what the Matuk says in the translation. What's happening to you now? What has happened to you now? Asher Kalisa Kulach, that you brought your entire self, Alagagos, to the roofs. And then he says, the Ros Kamaku Hamon Ha'am, to be able to see the tremendous multitude of people, Habal Tzor Ala'ir, that are coming to attack the city. Kedei Shetuchle Lehilochem Mimoshe, that they should be able to fight with it. They should have the ability to be able to succeed. Now that's a pasuk. We're about to see it right now. Give us an idea of where we're holding. So he says, the Fi Shapirish La'el, so apparently in a different place, Yosef Bako al Churban Beis Hamikdash, that Yosef Hasadik cried on the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Maybe Inyan the Daimelazel, we're bringing something over here which is similar to that Eich Sharachel, how it is that Rachel Imenu Baksa al Churban Beis Hamikdash is also, she cries over the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Galusam al Yisrael, and also the exile of Jewish people. So here's the Zohar, here it comes. As Rabbi Chizkiah Pasuk V'Amr, he brings this Pasuk, Masa Gei Chazoyon. So it's an act that took place in the Valley of Prophecy. Ma'aloch Eifa, what are you doing here? Ki al Lisa Kula the Gagos, that you've all come up on top of the roofs. V'Amatachazi Hokmuho. So we'll come and see. This has been explained before in Masechtas Tainus. He said, "Bezim that the Hishar Beit Mikdash, at the time that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Shapasuk Zed Amber Bizman Shenachar Beis Hamikdash. The pasuk is talking about the time of the destruction of the temple. Shaz Nishbal Kavod Yerushalayim Mechar Lagay. So that's where the glory of Jerusalem fell from the level of being a mountain to the level of being a valley. Shibarusho Amek, that fell into the depth. V'hava muktim le b'menura, because shecha b'choyos sorfim also be'esh, and as they burnt it with fire, slicha kol inin kahani gagechan the makdasha. That this is a story that we've seen that actually appears in the Gemara. Alo kol kohanim el gagos Beis Hamikdash, come, they all went up into the roofs of the Beis Hamikdash. And all the keys that had all the storerooms and the private places when the Beis Hamikdash and the doors. They had all the keys. So HaKadosh Baruch says like this, Ad kan hainu hagizbarim shaloch. So we are, until this point, we have been your treasure keepers. Mikan ve'eloch kach esam miftachos. Now you take the keys, shehem shalach, because they belong to you. V'zeh shekasav malacha efo. So that's where it says, what are you doing here? Ki alisa kulach b'kulach legagos, because you took everything up into the roofs. The zrok esam miftachos Beis Hamikdash klape ma'ala, to throw these up towards heaven. Now let's see what else the Zohar's got to say. He said, "Aval ata nefarish ba'ofen zeh," and that's the way that we saw it. We've seen this; it's a medrash. So we come over here. That's the way we saw it. So now he says to Chazi, come and say, "Gei chizoyin." What does it mean, the valley of prophecy? He said, "Das shchinta the Hava B'Mikdash. So for Rege Chizoyin, he says that look and see that the come and see that the concept of a valley, this valley, Hi Hashchina, this is a Shchina, Shasharsha Bebeis Hamikdash, whose dwelling place was in the Beis Hamikdash. V'kol b'nei alma minal hava yonkin unika de nevuah. V'kol b'nei ha'olam, and everybody, all humanity, haya yonkin b'mana unikas de nevuah, they all nursed off of her the sucking of prophecy. Ta'afal gav de kol nevinkin kol hava hamizgong ba'asa achra. Shafal pisha kol neviim. They were really prophesying from a different place altogether. And now we're talking about the place where prophecy comes from in the Olam of Atzilus, is which are the netzach, the two legs of Zeranpin. Shesham makor hanavua, because that's really where nevuah comes from. Im kol megavah havacha yankin nevuas. Mitoch Malchus, but we want to say that from Malchus with the Shechina herself, Koya Yonkim as the Vuasam, they were able ultimately to take this, had to come out through Malchus, the Vuasam, the fish he Choisim Mekabelas as Shefa Hanavachadvuam, and that's a Chanol the Zeranpin, because ultimately Zeranpin pours into Malchus, and as a result of that, it comes to the Shechina. The Shechina is the source, the immediate source of that Nevuah, which comes from the Chesed, from the Netzachod of Zeranpin. Valda Iskre Ihi Ge Chizoyin. So in this way, she is called the Valley of Prophecy. Valkein Nikras Amalchus Ge Chizoyin. The Fi Shenetzach Hod Shalamala, because what it is, it's a pouring from up above, from down below to down below. Because Netzach and Hod are above Malchus Shalamala. Mashpiyim ba, they pour into Malchus, and mislavshim ba, and they actually become meluvish, clothed inside of her. She hamuka lamata hazez, because she is deep, as we were talking about, as just like this valley that we're talking about. Oma masha kasa kizoyin. So now, not just that, but also we have this word kizoyin, of that means prophecy. What does that mean that she is the valley of prophecy? Because she has the vision. Let's say let me say again. Let me start again. Has been explained elsewhere. Because he's saying like this, that all of the different colors of the 6 kitzvos of Zeranpin, Misrayim bo, appear inside of her. Va'al yada hem motziim pu'ulasem mikoich el hapoel. So it's through Malchus that everything that ultimately happens. Now, let me see if I can pull this down a little bit more. Nope, no problem. How do I have this? There we go, this way. Okay, so he said, what are you doing here? That means like everything that you have, you brought to the roofs. Because when the Beis Hamikdash destroyed, when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, the Shechina came. Also because the Makomos, and she entered into all of the different places, Shel Hechelos, of the different palaces and the chambers and so on and so forth of the Beis Hamikdash. Shesham Koya Moshvacha b'Mekodim, because that is the place where she dwelt everywhere. V'chavas Bacho al Beis Medura, Val Yisrael the Ozloch b'Galusa. And there, in this place, the Shechina, V'choiser Boicha, she was cried. Al Beis Moshvam, of the place where she used to dwell, Val Yisrael Shehochel the Bagalos, and the Jewish people who have gone into exile. Val Kol Inen Sidiki v'Chasidi Dachavatambach v'Isavidu, and also Val Kol Osem Tzadikim, and all the these Tzadikim, v'Chasidim, and the people who are the really righteous people. Shehoy Yisham Asham v'Ne'evdu Bagalos, and they were there, but the Galos changed them, and they became lost in the Galos. Uminalan, Uminayan, Lanuzeh. So where do we know this from? Dechsiv Kol Amach Hashem, Kol Barama Nishma. What does it mean? He brings this posuk now this posuk in Yirmiyah. He says, Kol Amar Hashem, so Hashem says, there is a voice from on high that I hear. Pirish Kol B'chiyah, it's a sound of crying. It's the voice of crying. Nishba B'Beis HaMikdash, it's found in the Beis HaMikdash. Shuhu B'Makom Gavoha V'Ram, because that's the place when we saw from a most high place. This is the high place. Hi B'chi Tamruros, Rachel Mevake Al Baneho. So this is a cry of bitterness. This is the cry of Rachel, who is crying on her children who have now gone into Galus. V'ha Itmar, because it's said like this, and we've seen this in other places, that referring Rachel, of course, is a reference to the Shekhinah. So here we go, over here, we're now on page Reish Samach Daled, and it's V'gaden Kusha Barichu Shoel Le L'Shchinta La L'Shchinta. So then, V'az, the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Normally it means they're unpen, it means panemius, whatever it is, from the source of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. He says to the Kodesh Baruch Hu al Shechina, he speaks to the Shechina v'Amalah, and he says to her, Maloch Eifel, what are you doing here? Lisa Kulach Lagagos, that you took everything up onto the roof. Now here we're talking to the Shechina now. He says, the kind of the call of Makoma Shechoy Yusham Bebeis Moshvach, Alisa the Bechoy. So you went into all of these different places where you used to live, and now you're crying over it. So the question is it's an unusual statement that it says the posuk said kulach, you are all of your things. Ma ba l'rabos b'milas kulach. What do we need this word for? The call ki'alisa sagi. If you just said that you went in, why do we say that take everything with you? All this concept of kulach. What are you supposed to do with this? So he said mahu kulach. So when we said that you went up, or you entered in, so you didn't need this word. See, and the last she went to all of these different places to take all the things that she had. What do we need the kulach for? V'kalo ima as kol hatzvos v'kol hamerkavos acheros. So he said, because incorporated within her then became all of the different hosts, which mean over here he means the agents of messages. V'kol hamerkavos, and their vehicles. Of merkavos acheros shalom malachim, of these malachim shehem pirkei merkavta, which are the different joints and the different parts that compose the vehicle. Now he's telling us that the vehicle has many different parts. The kulchu b'chu ima, so all of them, they're all crying along with her. That's where she went up to the roof. Al churban bei mekdasha, they all cried over there. Jakulim b'chu ima, they all cried with her. Al churban bei mikdash and the churban. Kamasha kazim heim arelim tza'ako chutzalon. Arelim is a lashon malachim. Malachim shalom, maryu v'choyim. Bitterness is their crying. Again, kach, for this reason, Shaul HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked her this question: Ma loch efa, what are you doing here? Ki aliza lebechais beyached im tzavor sham Allah. That is, in other words, what are you doing? What you are doing is you came up to these places to cry together with all this tremendous heavenly host. Amakameh, so she said back to him, B'ki b'nei b'galusa b'mikdasha itoka b'ana ma lihocho. She said, Hare Banai, my children, Chalkul B'Galus, they all fell in, they all went into Galus. V'hamikdash Nisraf, the base of Mikdash, the place I lived, is burnt. V'ani ma nishar li kan, so me, what am I going to do? Why? What else is there for me to do? So Shrias V'Ameres, his Chidach HaShchina V'Amra. So then Shrias means actually she began. V'Ameres, and she said, Masha Kasav Achra Pasav Gechizoy. And so then he says, let's look at the pasuk a little bit. After it says the valley of prophecy, Chuas Malaya Ir Chomia. So there will be sounds, full of sounds of commotion in this war, this world of chaos. Yerushalayim Shechoiser Ad Ata Malaya Hamiyas Kol Rabba Harbe Anashim. So we had there the elevation. There were so many people. There was so much noise there. So now let's go here a little bit closer. Let's say that the Shechina, another word for the Shechina is Yerushalayim. Hanikras Yerushalayim, Tacha Shechoiser Ru'uya Himalos misorderless aliyah saman. Let's read it again. So the Shechina, which is also called Yerushalayim, she was fit, Lamaleos, to fulfill mehis orderless aliyah saman, from the arousal of the efforts of the people down below, which is called the aliyah, the elevation of Mayim Nukvid. These are the prayers from down below, Shalatachtoinim and Maasechem Vatikunam, and the different good things that people did and how they helped to bring prayer and Torah study and grow it. Nismalet shuas mezakas v'chamias oshkim machmas al avlos sha'asaba. The nismayat shuas, so now she's full of cries, of crying out of chamayas, hashukim, and the bringing of all of the oppression, machmas of avlos, because of sins, shenasaba, that were done in this place called Yerushalayim, which is the Shechina, he says. Kirya Aliza. Kirya Shechosa Malaya Simcha. This is a city that was full of joy. The Marbis Hamamshalach of Osher, and people did well, and the kingdom grew, and the wealth grew. Ratzon Alomar. Tacha Shechosa Kriya. So whence it was such a Kriya, Pirish Mishkan Laharos Yudke Vavke Da'aba Ve'imba. So he says Kari Yudke. Kar Yudke. I'm not sure exactly how this works. But let me read it again. Ratzon Alomar. Tacha Shechosa Kriya Pirish. What does Kriya mean? Mishkan, it means a Mishkan, that is a dwelling place, but a dwelling place on Most High. Laharas Yudke Da'aba Ve'ima, in order to shone and to have shine into that place. The glow, the illumination of Yudke, which are Abba Be'ima, also known as Chochmah Bina. V'aliza pirish maha'araz havak dezer anpen. And when it refers to the word aliza, which is a lashon, he used it for a simcha. He said that this aliza, it really refers to also what is filled, the glow and the radiance of the vok, the six kitzvah, the six kitzvahs of zer anpen. Va'ata ma al sabach. And now, what actually have you come up to see? Ki chalalayach lo chalali cherev. But actually the din poured out alechem, onto you, until you died from tremendous famine, from hunger, bitter hunger, tough hunger, more than that, than people who died from the sword. So therefore the Shechina says like this: Al kein amarti shu'umini. Pirish suru umenu shumimi. Apparently that lashon, I think I missed this one, didn't look it up. He said, let's see, he said shuos. So he says shumini. So he says, we said shumini. Pirish suru umenu, turn away from me. Amma bebechi, and she said in crying, ki moes lehis nachem b'shum tachtonim. Me'ana lehis nachem. I'm holding back from being able to be comforted by any comfortings that you might bring me. The whole kimna, because we've explained this like this. The kudsher berichu, amala the Shechina, hanikras rachel, kol amach havaya, menaki koilach mibechi, v'shov bandach the gavulam. There will be a time that is going to come when your children, you will put away your crying, and your children will come back to their borders. Im kol zecha b'ma'ana nehis nachem, but even so, our mother Rachel, the Shechina, let's say so to feed, is holding back from being comforted. Ad she'yagala Yisrael b'karov, amen, until the Jewish people will be revealed in God's speedy time. Amen. That's the shir for today in the Zohar Miketz. This is Baruch Fleischman for the Tikkun Elevator Kolo.